Welcome to our final video of Unit 3. In this lesson, we're going to be solving systems of linear inequalities. So a system of linear inequalities is two linear inequalities representing a common situation, okay? And then the solution is going to be the region of the two inequalities that overlap. If you're questioning what I'm talking about by regions or a linear inequality, go back and watch 7.5 from Unit 2. Okay, remember, at the end of Unit 2, we talked about those linear inequalities. We had solid lines, dotted lines, shading above and below the line, all that kind of fun stuff. So don't forget to check that out if you need a refresher. So here is our first system of linear inequalities. Here you can see we have two lines that are graphed, okay, on the same coordinate plane. So they must be representing the same situation. So let us look at the first one here. And let's look at this one that I'm going to kind of go back over in red. What is that equation? Well, that's if that were an equation, it would be y equals 4, right? But it's an inequality. So I always look at the line and first try to write the equation of that line, okay, and then turn it into the inequality. So this is y, and that equals 4. Now, the line was, if you remember before I so rudely covered over it, it was dotted, right? So that is going to mean it's either less than or greater than. And because we've shaded below that line, right, we've shaded below that line, so this is going to be y is less than, we don't underline it because it's a dotted line, y is less than 4. So that is what represents that red line right there and all of the stuff that's below it, okay? So then we have the second line, and this second line here is that diagonal line. And of course, my graph is a mess right now, so I got to go back and erase it so I can see that line again. And in looking at that line, okay, it's easiest to write it in slope-intercept form. Y equals, my y-intercept is 2. Okay, my y-intercept is 2, so that's going to be plus 2 there. And my slope is, I go down 1 over 2. So my slope is 1/2, and then x is my constant, okay? So the equation of that blue line that I'm tracing over again is going to be, is it positive or negative? Oh, it's going down, so do not forget to make that a negative. The slope is negative 1/2, and the y-intercept is 2. So that blue line that I have there is y equals negative 1/2 x plus 2. I need to now turn that into an inequality. So that's going to be y. Again, is it less than or greater than? Think about that. And again, we've shaded below that line. We've shaded below this line that I'm erasing right now. So that's going to be a less than. Okay, I don't need to underline it because it's a dotted line. And then I just copy my equation again. Okay, so that is the system, okay? It's going to be what I'm circling in green here. That and that are your two inequalities that represent this system of inequalities that is graphed for us, okay? Ooh. Here is a real-world example of babysitting. Okay, and we're graphing inequalities. We're babysitting and we're sacking groceries, okay? So babysitting, we earn $5 an hour, and sacking groceries, we earn $6 an hour, okay? And we can't work more than 20 hours a week, and we want to make at least $90 a week, okay? So how many hours can we work at each job and still meet those requirements? So again, anytime you're writing your equations or inequalities, you want to first identify your unknown. So we're going to let x equal the hours of babysitting, okay? And then you can see I have that on the x-axis here. And then y is going to be the groceries, okay? So our first equation or inequality is going to be that hours. So our total hours must be less than or equal to, no more than, right? So we're going to use that equal to sign, no more than 20 hours, okay? So 20 hours is our maximum, all right? And then we want to earn at least $90, and we're getting that $90 by $5 an hour babysitting, plus $6 an hour sacking groceries, and we want our money earned to be more than $90. So you see how I have those two inequalities there? So now all I'm going to do is graph those. All right, so since they're both in standard form, our intercepts are going to be the best. So this inequality right here, I'm going to use for in red, and our y-intercepts are 20. So we could work 20 hours babysitting, 20 hours sacking groceries, and that's our maximum, okay? I'm going to use a solid line here because it is, that is acceptable. Okay, and I'm not going to shade quite yet. Now, if you imagine, we're going below that red line, okay? So I'm just kind of going to do that very lightly, okay? And then the blue here is going to be this equation, okay? And if I just babysat and I wanted to make $90, right, I would have to work at least 18 hours, okay? And so that's going to be my x-intercept is 18, okay? So there's my x-intercept, which is 18, right? And then if I were sacking groceries, well, now my y-intercept is going to be 15, okay? So you see that right there. So I'm going to draw the line that represents that. And again, I'm using a solid line here because the line is included, okay? But I want to make more than that. So I'm going to shade above here, okay? So where they overlap, which is this kind of fine strip in here, okay? That's going to be all of the possible outcomes we can work and meet our criteria. Okay, so we could like maybe 16 hours and sacking groceries and no hours babysitting. That would give us more than $90. We could use any point in there. So that is 8 hours babysitting and 10 hours sacking groceries. If you think about that situation, that's going to keep us under the 20 hours that we're allowed and also give us more than $90, okay? Here is a little bit clearer, more beautiful graph. Done on the computer, obviously, okay? A little typo there with that 9. That should be just 90. You can kind of see that fine strip of where all of our possible solutions are. If this were a test or something and you wanted to kind of put an arrow in here and just tell me, hey, here's my answer, especially as shading can kind of get a little funky. Again, we'll practice this in class. Don't forget to ask questions and complete your post-video check. That wraps up all of your videos for Unit 3.